Okay, so let me try to move my chair. There we go. So number one is super weird because it requires a lot of different pieces of knowledge. The first one, the first step basically, right? We can't actually do anything with parentheses because for parentheses, you would we need to be able to do something inside the parentheses, but we can't combine x and -1. And so since you can't combine anything there, we're done with parentheses. So the next step is going to be your exponents. So we're going to apply this squared. So let's think about x minus 1 squared. So that's if you use your rectangle, you'll get x squared minus x plus 1. So x squared minus 2x plus 1 would be this part. So let's rewrite that. So we've got 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 1, because we expanded this part out, and then minus 8. Does that make sense? And welcome, Elizabeth. So then you would move on. So now we're done with exponents. So now we can move on to multiplying and dividing. So we can go ahead and multiply this 2 to each part using our distributive property. So we're going to get 2x squared minus 4x plus 2, and then minus 8. And then we can combine like terms to get 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. Nope, sorry, minus 6. And that kind of unlocks the other parts of the, like part numbers 2 and 3. So that's why I definitely wanted to go over that one. So once you have your standard form, so we just multiply it all out, combine like terms, and then we're ready to factor. Okay, yeah, so there's 2 ways to factor. I like to take out GCF. We use our Xbox method. We end up with 3 possible answers, but all 3 of those answers are going to lead us to the same 2 x-intercepts. Right, so no matter which way we use, we should get, I'm going to do that down here. So we get x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. So x equals -1, and x equals 3 will be our x-intercepts. Can you guys still see that? Okay. And then returning back up to the very first question that I put up here. So what does that first equation tell us about our vertex? Does one of you want to take a stab at where is that vertex? We've only been over this in the classwork, I think, once. Yeah, -8 is part of it, right? So that's going to be the y coordinate, right? So the y coordinate is going to be -8. And then the x coordinate is going to be the opposite of -1. Yes, 1 -8. That's the really nifty thing about this form of the equation is it hides the vertex in there, right? Like you can just kind of pull the numbers out to see where the vertex is. So we get 1 -8. And that allows us to make a pretty good sketch of our graph. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this and then make a sketch of the graph. I'll erase this. So this is number 3. To make a sketch of the graph, so our vertex was at 1 -8. Let's do that down here. And then our x-intercepts were at 3 and -1. And so that gives you a pretty good idea of how you can draw your parabola. And we're done.